Okay, we are live.
Awesome. So here's a story. We're going to start a podcast, and it's going to be a phenomenal podcast. Maybe the greatest podcast that's ever existed.
I don't
What do you
know.
think about that?
I don't know. I hope it's a good podcast. There are some good podcasts out there, but I think we've got a mad team lined up here. The Maven and the VC.
The Maven and the VC, man. I mean, we've been trying to put something together for at least 3 or 4 years. You know what I mean? I remember, I think, hitting you up, messaging you a long time ago, and it's just it's so crazy that our paths are so parallel but so far apart.
Yeah, I think it's so
You know
true.
what I mean?
It's so true because it'd be perfect if we lived in at least the same region, because we could get our times right. But I mean, what time's it there now? Like for me, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I think it's close to midnight for you.
It's not that. I mean, it's 9. It's 9:18. So I mean, it's not too terribly different in time. But you are a day ahead of me, actually. So so for me, today is Wednesday, but it's Thursday for you, yeah?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So it's, I think the line is somewhere just east of New Zealand where it ticks over. And so we're always sort of ahead of that's why even going through Europe, it was a bit of a funny one, because I knew that Australia was so far in front. So posting a video on a Friday in Europe, you always knew that people were out riding their bikes on Saturday morning in Australia. And hence why the views weren't necessarily as good as what you'd think they'd be on a Friday. Because I think Thursdays and Fridays are the 2 good days for YouTube.
Yeah, I don't ever think about it much. I just try to post something, and then it's because it's so hard for me to sit on something. Like, as soon as I've created something and it's done, I'm like instantly trying to publish it. I'm just like, I want it out, I want it on, I want it going. I don't want to sit on that video. But sometimes it's just, you need to. It's just bad timing sometimes to like do it. Sunday afternoon is like probably a horrible time to post, a video.
When you got 2 little kids, I suppose you just got to find the time to do it, really, don't you?
Yeah, man. Well, so what are we going to do with this channel? What is our mission statement, if you will? I know we've both talked about that we would like to reach a broader audience. I think that's always, with a lot of people, that seems fun, to reach a broader audience. And so, yes, like, cycling will be a part of this podcast just naturally, as it is a part of our lives, but it is not a cycling podcast. More along the lines of, family and fitness and food and experience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, dude, I've got stories for days. You know what I mean? I've lived a life, and would love to tell some of those stories. And I'm sure that you also have some pretty gnar stories you want to express out there.
Yeah, I think what it comes down to is we do have some good stories and stuff, and I think while the temptation to stick with cycling is there, I would like this thing to branch out into other stuff, so that we can sort of, just talk about other facets of our life and not be so restricted. For example, you're a vegan, and you're a vegan cyclist, and I'm sure there's much more depth to you than talking about veganism or cycling. And so, and I'd like to use this medium to share other areas and other facets of my life that I can't necessarily share on my vlog. So we've got a good opportunity to just talk shit, basically. What do you think?
Yeah, man, and I'm super excited. And I'm excited about the format of having the ability for you, kind of young Jamie, the Google webs, you know what I mean, by Googling and bringing up articles, and then having people be able to drop in and chime in on the live chat there. And I mean, honestly, the thing is, uh, there's it's hard to express how much time goes into creating a piece of content for YouTube that you're proud of. And I know a lot of people don't really want to hear about that. They don't want to hear your hard work. They just, dude, put up something cool for me to watch while I'm on the can. You know what I mean? But the reality of it, man, is, dude, it gets exhausting. And so this avenue for me personally is exciting because we're creating it right now. We are having a conversation and we are creating content. I'm not sitting at the edit bay, you know, with my can of Red Bull, drowning in it, trying to produce some cool music thing, you know. So that's what I'm excited about.
The other thing we can do is we could even, for example, a live stream of one of the races. So say Paris-Roubaix, we could bring yourself, myself, we could bring other people into the conversation, even have one of our fans come in as a guest, you know, just to have some banter with us. And we could talk about the race and just have some fun and maybe have a couple of beers and get drunk and make it a more relaxed thing, which is what YouTube really is. It's a more of a relaxed environment to be able to sort of share some thoughts, and so that's another option as well.
Absolutely, that would be super duper to watch a race. I don't know how. I know a lot of people do companion type stuff like that. I don't know how we would get across not getting it pulled down by whatever race organizer, but I mean, if we did sort of a companion where you could watch this and then find, you know, we suggest where you can find that race at, so you can watch it on one screen and then this on another screen. Yeah, you know, that would be killer, man. And then also the fact that you're on one part of the planet and I'm on another, so we can also branch out, and I can grab a guest local to me and you can grab a guest local to you, and it doesn't necessarily have to be you and me and we do this thing. But I think that it would be super cool to have, like, every Wednesday, it's a regular show. Like every Wednesday you and I are chatting, but then throughout the rest of the week, you know, we can do race companions. We can do cool stories with other people that are around us. You know what I mean? I think that's going to be, it's going to be a cool deal. I'm excited. I love talking.
Yeah.
You're like, if I get an opportunity to talk about myself, bro, I'm all over it.
I think so, bro. Nah, it's all good. And I think I definitely need to put the chat next to your head to cover that Red Bull sign over to the left there.
Dude, I am trying to get sponsored by Red Bull. So this is my, like, hey, Red Bull, dude. People
are actually going to think the podcast is sponsored by Red Bull.
Hey, whatever it takes, man. I don't know. Maybe I'll have like something super ridiculous by me every time. Just something so outrageous right next to me every time that people want to chime in and look at what outrageous thing I've got next to me.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So let's talk about some stuff, shall we?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's jump right into it. What do you have up there from Velo News?
Velo News. So Neil Rogers. Do you know Kaylee Fretz?
I do not.
So Kaylee was working at Velo News. He's moved over to Cycling Tips as the senior editor, and he is outstanding. So if you're not following Kaylee, get on board. He always puts out a lot of interesting stuff on Twitter. If Kaylee puts something up on Twitter, it's usually quality cycling content. So that's someone to get on board with. What else? Now you'll be able to relate to this. Sagan announces the birth of a baby boy. You've got a little one at home.
Yeah. What is? That's so. What kind? I mean, dude, that's you've got some big shoes to fill if you're Peter Sagan's boy, dude.
I know.
I wonder what Sagan is actually like. Like, I wonder if, because the thing to me, I feel, is that there is a spectrum of the universe just has like okay, you have 100 points total to disperse across your stats.
Yeah.
Okay. And maybe Sagan has they're all loaded into the physical side of things. Like he's very physically gifted. But maybe he just like is super retarded as like a human. You know what I mean? And he's like maybe a horrible husband, or like when he becomes a dad, he's gonna throw the kid through the window like a football. I don't know, dude. Like that's the only way I can cope with him being such a great human. It's hard for me, just any great human, where it's like, man, I hope that he has some sort of downfall, because if not, if he's just as good as me in every aspect of life and yet rides bikes that well, damn. That's hard for me to digest.
He's an interesting. Have you met him?
No.
I interviewed him at the Tour Down Under, and that guy. I've obviously seen him at the Tour de France and whatnot. He gets so inundated with humans. Like, if he comes out into the air, he has 30 people around him getting photos, and I actually don't know. Like, guys in his realm, I don't understand how they get through life, because he is constantly taking selfies with people. He constantly has to interact with people. And, if you get a bit weird, if you're a major celeb like him, and even people who are bigger than him, I don't know how you get through life, because it's not normal to experience that.
Well, no, it's not. And like literally the logistics of you moving from one location to another location becomes something entirely. I mean, that's crazy for sure. But also that he is such a cool dude.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just like, you just feel like you want to go up and be his best friend.
Yeah.
And so, man, that's crazy. But that's cool that he has a boy.
Will he be as good a sprinter? That is the question. Will he even get into cycling?
It's weird, man. Sometimes you'll have kids so Brian Deegan, he's like a motocross star. He started Metal Militia. Brian Deegan and his crew like started basically all of freestyle motocross, right? And he has 3 kids. He has 3 kids, and one of them is his daughter is going to be like the second woman ever to be in NASCAR or something like that. Like, she is high level. And then his son he's like the world's fastest motocross racer. I think he's the youngest to ever pull a backflip on motorcycle. I mean, they are like super duper gifted. But it's because they have the ability to be gifted from Brian Deegan's, adventures. Like, he has a lot of money now and he can support them, and he has those connections. Like, he can call up Monster Energy and be like, hey, give me $2 million for a race car team. And that's like, yeah, sure, no problem. As of where I can't offer that to my son currently. So I wonder what Peter Sagan can offer up to his son. But the other thing, too, is that cycling is so, you can't just have connections. You got to perform. And so I don't know, man. I mean, that's going to be big shoes to fill, to have a name like Sagan or Sagan or whatever you want to say it. Big shoes to fill. That might be too much pressure. So I could see him just being like some drifter. Just a drifter that goes and lives in the middle of a field and herds cows, because he just doesn't want to like deal with any of that.
Yeah. It's actually funny you say that, because Jonathan Cantwell paid this is a rumor, right? So I don't know how true this is, but Jonathan Cantwell is a local Melbourne cyclist, and apparently he paid one of the teams a massive amount. It was actually Saxo, I think it was, to be a part of the Tour de France in 2012. I'm not exactly sure. I think it was 2014 or somewhere around there. But he paid them a massive sum of money to race at the Tour de France. And so it's interesting that what you were saying then about Sagan, because there are people out there paying to get into these teams.
Really?
Yeah, I'll bring it up. Just bear with me.
That's crazy. But so, I mean, like in motocross, currently there are guys who pay money to be on teams. and then but it's because there's not enough. Like, it's the only way for them to get seen.
Yeah.
And so it's basically it's an investment, right? So I could see that being the case if I felt like my fitness was good enough, and I needed to get the ear of or eye of someone big, a big team. I could, and I had that money to invest, pay $100,000 to give me a shot at the Tour de France. And then, dude, what happens if for whatever reason I win a stage?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that, all of a sudden I've broken in. I'm done. I now that investment would be worth it, as long as other teams don't know that I made that investment. Because then when you go to make contract negotiations, they'd be like, okay, well, pay us $90,000. You'd be going the opposite way. But it could. I mean, honestly, if you were very confident in your skill set, paying to be on a team for even one tour, that could pay off big.
Yeah, it definitely could. I mean, you say to people that you've ridden the Tour de France, and that's got to be a huge feather in your cap for your CV.
Yeah, but what did he do? Did he get dropped instantly?
I actually don't know, but we can, if we actually want to talk about this further, maybe we can talk about this in episode 1 of our podcast, and we'll go deeper into it. What do you think?
So will the 2018 route favor Froome? How many can Sagan win? Dude, I think I was going to call it. I was going to say, when people were saying who's going to take the green jersey, I promise you, I was saying to myself, I didn't put this out in public, but I was saying Sagan will not win the green jersey because something will happen. He will have some massive stroke of bad luck. Like, he had won it too many times. It just felt like, something was going to happen. He was either going to get injured or have a crash or something like that. Obviously, I didn't know disqualification would be a thing. But I really felt like he was not going to win that green jersey. And so I think next year he'll be back to his winning ways and smash it. It's just, dude, he's just unreal. Froome, I think that as long as, if he just doesn't change anything about his program and he just comes at the same level that he is now or even a little less, there's just no one else that's going to be able to put together all the pieces. Everyone was super stoked on the big mouth guy. What was his name?
The big mouth guy.
He has a huge mouth, and he's ugly, and he's skinny and small, and
Greipel.
Greipel, no, his GC contender. I'm talking about Froome, the guy who got yellow for a second in the Tour de France.
Aru.
I hate Aru. Yeah. And so everyone was like, oh, he's gonna put up a threat, until he is absolutely not a threat at all. And so I just think to be able to beat Froome, it's not about beating him on individual stages by a few seconds, because he's going to crush you in the time trial. And at the, there's going to be a couple climbing stages where guys just completely crack. And I think that, we can talk about it all we want, but unless Froome has some major issue, and in what was it, the one that there was one that he had an issue, and he put 2 minutes on, dude, I'm just blanking on all the names of the riders. Quintana, did something, but Froome came back and did put 2 minutes on him in a time trial. Early on. It was at not one of the grand tours, but a smaller tour. And so, dude, I just think it's going to be difficult for anyone to beat Froome. But here's the thing, man, is when you look at that picture of his skinny arms, as a man, primal wise, dude, he's not protecting his family. If there's a catastrophe, the dude's going to blow away in the wind.
Yeah. But I mean, that's what you got to be at the pointy end of these races. You've got to be skeletal, you know. I think the only one that can take it to him is Dumoulin after winning the 100th Giro. But even still, he doesn't stand a chance. I mean, he's got chance against him in time trials. Obviously, he's a very good time trialist. But in terms of climbing, I think even with this race, you know, because for example, there's a short 65-kilometre stage. They've got Pave. I mean, the 65-kilometre stage, that is just going to be... Apparently, that's just a nasty little stage. Like, very steep climbs. It's going to hurt. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting. What's Andy?
Well, so there was... here's a story for you. I had a dream, and this is so weird that dreams do this. And, like, the movie Inception... you know, the movie Inception is super cool, and the guy who made Inception said that he had that idea from a dream he had. So I have a dream that someone was like threatening my family, third wife. I couldn't like beat him. I wasn't confident. I couldn't beat him up. I couldn't take him down because I was too skinny. I was too lean from cycling, and it was just whatever. It was a small dream, but dude, when I woke up, it literally stuck in my head for weeks, and to the point where it grew to a feeling of that I think I'm gonna quit cycling. Mm-hmm. Like literally, I was like, I think I'm gonna be done. I'm gonna quit cycling. I'm gonna go back to jiu-jitsu. I'm gonna get back into MMA. I'm gonna get my upper body back together. like I legit, from this dream of not being able to protect my family in hand-to-hand combat, which is just, I know that's so primal and so monkey.
Really?
But man, I got me really like concerned that I don't, my fitness is so one-dimensional. It's just like on a bike. Versus when I was doing jiu-jitsu and doing MMA, you know, I used to train and I felt very confident. Like there was very few people. Yeah, I walk around on the street, very few people that I would not be able to kill. And that sounds so dumb, but like, you know, I could take them down, I could put them in a submission, get them in a choke, and essentially, once I have you in a choke, I have your life in my hands. I could kill you. And so, you know, I'm not saying I'm a badass, but like just that feeling of like confidence and now not really having that, I almost quit. I was like, dude, I'm done.
Is that right? That's so interesting, bro.
Yeah, I got over it. I moved on. I'm still a cyclist.
Well, see, I used to, obviously, I can relate to that because I used to do CrossFit. And, you know, like I was a bulky guy. Like I think I'm the sort of guy, even now, I haven't done weights for ages, but I still feel quite big through the shoulders. And it's the same thing, like, there's pretty much at the moment not a day that goes by where I don't want to go back to CrossFit or go try something else. But I don't want to do it at the cost of my cycling. I still want to ride a bike, you know.
What do you have a picture of yourself when you were
I'll show you.
Like how yoked did you get?
I'll show you. I'll show. I think I've got some CrossFit stuff here. Bear with me.
I'm gonna send you a video of me winning a Brazilian jiu-jitsu match.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna Facebook that to you. That's the YouTube link. You can bring that up.
Okay.
It's
now bear with me a second.
You know.
Bear with me a second. I'll just quickly show you this. I've got it up now.
Okay.
Let's have a look at this. So we'll go that. This is 220 kilos. Actually, I'll put it on this one so that we can both see it. Can you hear the sound of that?
Of popping? Oh, there you go. Oh, what is that? How much weight is that?
220.
Jeez Louise. Oh my goodness, bro. So like, okay, when you're done with that, you get this pump in your chest and your arms feel flexed, like, you know, you get a good pump going. And when you walk out the door and you're like puffed up, doesn't that feel good? Like, that's a feeling you don't have in cycling, of just this like, oh, you know, just raw like girth.
That's what I'm saying. That I totally agree with you. Let's bring up. Let's just bring up.
So if
this.
you do that, I sent you two, and I think that probably the most recent one I sent you,
okay,
is a little bit visually better.
So is this
the first one is kind of hard to tell what I'm doing. But what's neat is that I put this guy in a choke, and then he starts to throw up, and he has to run to a trash can and puke.
Really?
And that was cool. so you know.
All right, let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at this.
So I think that I'm a little bit lagged behind on the video. It looks like we probably have about a 5-second delay on the stream. But so there I am with short hair. Not only do I have short hair, but I was dyeing it black.
So that's you on the left.
Why am I dyeing my hair black? I don't know.
So that's you on the left there.
Yeah, I'm in the light colored belt. We're both in white, obviously, but I'm in a very light colored blue belt.
Yeah.
I ended up getting up to purple belt, was my highest deal. So I throw them down on the ground, and I get some points. And now with jiu-jitsu, basically this competition is, I think, 5 minutes. It's a 5-minute round, and if you go 5 minutes, then it goes to points, right?
Yeah.
So already right now I have the points to win the match, and I could just sit there and do nothing and win. But that's not cool. No one wants to do that. So then I'm going to try to submit this guy, but by doing that, I'm opening up myself to possibly getting submitted myself. And so, maybe skip a little bit, because I kind of like go through and pass his guard in a way. But I want to show you where I put him in a choke. Put him in a mean choke, dude. And he runs and pukes in the trash can. So yeah, there you go. So he's trying to choke. He's trying to choke me. He's trying to get like my head. He's got me in a bit of a guillotine, but he doesn't have his legs wrapped around me, so I'm just gonna like. But peep this. I force him to turn his back to me, and then I get his back, and pretty much saw his head off with his own gi, dude.
Oh my god! So he was going to throw up.
Yeah, he did. He did throw up. He threw up and then I'm just like, kind of, what's going on?
Oh no!
But yeah, he puked. He puked in the trash bin over there.
What do we got here? What's this one?
And then the other one is actually a pretty big tournament. It's a grappler quest, and I won that one, which is pretty cool. But
can you hear the sound of the actual video on the? Can you hear the sound of the video when I play it?
Big tournament. I've got, if I put my sound on, then I'm gonna hear us talking. So I don't know. I actually don't know if there is sound. So
could I hear Kristen in the background going, "Come on, Tyler"? Then
no. That was the girl that was saying that is actually my coach's wife.
Oh, okay.
So there you go. Yeah, it's a little hard because I'm like lagged behind by a few seconds. But if you hit play and then skip, I don't know, skip like 2/3 of the way. Kristen says she can hear, so she can hear the sound when you've got it going on.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I would skip just a little bit, and so then he's like trying to take me down, and I scoop my leg around his neck. So I've got him in a triangle, so I'm like choking him with my legs, and then I grab his arm, and I put it into what's called a Kimura, and I broke a guy's arm this way. Like I didn't break his arm, but boom, look at that. And so then he taps and
whoa,
murdered him. Dude, murdered him. You know, but like that in that moment, dude, if we are, so this is what I'm getting at, is like this is sport and competition and there are set rules. He taps, I stop. If you were in the Thunderdome and it was just like 2-man in or 1-man leaves, you know, I'm snapping his arm and then I'm going to choke him unconscious and then stop him from breathing until he dies. Like that's the primal side of it. And so knowing that, having that in the back of my mind, like was always such a nice little pacifier. Not that I would ever do it. I've never really gotten in a legitimate street fight.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's that applicable right now, but it's just this thing that like tickles that fire inside of me that I know maybe if I had an intruder in my house, that I could do something, versus like when all my time and energy is going to cycling, you know what I mean? It's not very, you know, like guys will like banter back and forth between, you know, if you're playing basketball and you dunk on someone, you're just like, yeah, you know, and it's all about like, I'll kick your ass on the basketball field, or I'll kick your ass on the, you know, on the course or up this hill, or like in weights, like I'll kick your ass because I'll lift more weights. But when you're actually legitimately kicking someone's ass, that's the end all be all. You know what I mean? Like when two guys go head to head in physical combat, I don't know, man, it's a weird thing that happens with your ego. When you lose, you are not the alpha. There is something very real and visceral inside of you that becomes like, I have to bow down to this person. Like I have to kind of like monkey style, like turn my head and lift my hand. But when it's returned and you're the victor, boy, it's a feeling that is unique.
Yeah, I agree. I've got to show you this one last video. This was another weight CrossFit one, but you'll see what happens at the end. This was about 160 kilos.
So I'm going to 160. It's so weird that brain, 352 pounds. Holy moly. What?
So that was Hannah catching the weight. That was Hannah catching the weight.
Oh my goodness. So it just rolled her over? It just knocked her over?
Yeah, it just fell straight off my back and rolled straight towards her. And she caught it, but she didn't realise how heavy it actually is. And so she's trying to stop it while filming me. So she's holding the camera in one hand. Poor little thing. Pretty funny.
That's funny, man. Have you been able to successfully put that up?
I actually haven't shown any of this stuff. So yeah, there's quite a few CrossFit stuff here. But anyway, maybe one day. Maybe one day. So I think what we should do is, for the prelude of this podcast, let's wrap it up. Do you think? What do you think? Are you still there? I think I might have lost you.